What is going on, guys? Nathan here with a Team Fortress 2 server ownership tutorial. Now, this tutorial is going to be kind of just a ground up what it means to own a server, like what do you do to own a server, various like file modifications that we'll be doing in FileZilla, which I'll get into in a little bit, and various commands that you need to know as a server op. This tutorial will save you a lot of frustration time and Googling, so yeah, I just felt like making it because there aren't really any other tutorials on YouTube at the moment. Also, pardon me if the video organization is not very good. There's just a lot of stuff to cover and it's hard to do it in order, so if I just throw off or go off on a tangent randomly, then try to bear with me because I'm just trying to cover everything, not necessarily in the right order. Now, I do rent my server from Thief, and shout out to him. His website will be in the description down below. He's a very awesome server host, and his servers are pretty cheap too, so if you're looking to get a server, he can actually set up some very basic stuff such as source mod and sizzling stats for you if you're actually owning a competitive server. So shout out to him for being an awesome server host. But basically the point of that shout out is to say that he has set up some very basic stuff for me in the server already, so like I haven't had to install source mod or like sizzling stats, which I can actually show you how to do because I do know how to do that, but some things might be a bit different from your starting server if you do actually purchase a server, in terms of the files actually. So let's see, what do you get when you purchase a server? Like, do you actually get a physical anything? Like what do you get when you purchase a server? This was a question I had when I was considering buying a server. The thing is, you should get a few pieces of information. First of all, you should get the IP of the server that you'll actually own, the file transfer protocol number of the server that you're owning, which I'll get to in a little bit, and then the username / password / login information of a third party, or not like a third party, but just like a program or website where you'll be remotely accessing the server. Also, if you hear some scraping or brushing in the background, that's my cat being annoying behind my monitor. And so in terms of programs or websites to use, if you like purchase your server from a large server hosting website. I couldn't even name some off the top of my head. I just haven't delved into that too much. But what I do, because Thief is only just one guy, I use FileZilla, which is a very popular file transfer protocol program. So basically, you'll just want to Google this and install it. You can just go ahead and Google FileZilla. It'll be the first one here, the free FTP solution. Just download that and install it. And this is basically the entire like window that you'll be accessing your server from. And what you'll want to do is enter into the host bar up here with the username, password, and port. You'll want to put in your FTP, which the server host should give you. Now, I'm not going to put my personal info in here because there is actually a button that I can press right here. If you can't see this, go into 1080p. There is actually a button that I can press right here that'll say reconnect to the last used server. That's just a lot easier once you enter your password for the first time. Anyway, for your host, you'll put in your FTP. Your server host should give you a username, and that's kind of goes with the same thing with like a file accessing website. It'll just be a username and password. Enter your username and then your password, and then your port. For FileZilla, you might or might not have a port. I think you can leave it blank in some instances where like the IP already has the port in its like number. So if I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the port is where you press colon or yeah, full colon, and then it'll be like whatever, a 5-digit number or 4-digit number, something like that. So anyway, that's how you log into FileZilla, and I will log into my server here. So this is your server files, basically, like all of the files just right here. I'll try to go in order of like the files, like I'll cover some stuff that's not in these folders first that you'll want to cover yourself. My cat is really annoying and he's purring in the background. I'm trying to get him out of here. Alright, so anyway, first thing, once you have your server here, and it might or might not look like this, but this is what mine looks like. You want to create a file called mapcycle.txt and MOTD.txt. I swear to God, cat, I'm going to destroy you because you keep making noise. Okay. And you will not have these files in your server listing, but to create them, you just simply right click in this white area, click create new file, and then do mapcycle.txt. And the txt is important because that does specify what type of file you're creating, so that FileZilla will do that. I swear to God, cat, go away. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to leave it. Alright, so I'm going to create mapcycle2.txt because I already have a map cycle, and that would just override my current one. So you're going to have an empty file here, an empty notepad file that once again should be named mapcycle without a 2. Otherwise the server won't recognize it. So I'm going to open my map cycle, and basically what you do here, this is your map cycle, or like next map sort of... I'm sorry, my cat is being ridiculous. You'll want to enter all of the maps that you'll want in your server, so like once map time expires, it'll go on to the next map that are listed here. So for example, if I have my server on PL Upward, then it'll go to CP Gullywash, then PL Badwater, then CP Process, and you just basically enter the map name, press enter, and then keep on entering map names. And my personal server like map cycle contains competitive maps that are in vanilla TF2. The reason I don't run like custom maps is because if I want people to connect to my server through their browser, which doesn't really happen often, but it might happen every once in a while, or for those of you who want to run like a public server. The reason why I run vanilla maps is because people just kind of turn their nose up at downloading a map, and it's just it's just something that gets in the way of them connecting to your server. So anyway, enter in your own custom maps here, and you can just go ahead and press Control S, and then you exit out of it, and it'll say, hey, your file has been changed. Do you want to re-upload it? And you click yes, but I'm just going to click no because I don't want any changes I just made there to be saved, because I already have it correct. So anyway, I'm going to delete my map cycle 2 because that's not doing anything either. Anyway, so the other one you'll want to create is MOTD.txt, just MOTD.txt. I'll create a 2 again. It'll be an empty notepad file, and basically this is your message of the day. For when people connect to your server, it'll have the welcome thing, welcome window, and this is the text that will be in your message of the day. Now, it is possible in Team Fortress 2 to display an HTML message of the day, which like you can display a website or an image or something, and you can to do that you actually enter like code, like HTML code, into this file, I believe, but you'll have to like look up other help on that because I don't know how to do that. And I don't really want to do that to just, I don't know, to me just plain text is fine. So for me, I just have a very plain and simple message of the day, and I specify the owners are in case someone needs help or they want to report a user that's being douchey. So anyway, that is pretty much that. I'm going to delete my message of the day 2 here again. Other than that, you really don't really mess with anything in here other than creating those 2 files. You might want to pay attention to item whitelist example.txt. This is a good whitelist, or just like a default whitelist file that you might want to pay attention to, but I'll get into that in a little bit because it gives you various item names and stuff like that. I think you can also download custom whitelists, so yeah. Anyway, I'll go into each folder kind of explaining what you want to modify in these folders. There's only a couple that you really access very often. Most of them you don't really do anything with, but here add-ons will be your most accessed folder. Now, Thief has actually installed source mod, metamod, and sizzling plugins for me, so I'm very thankful for him to that. But if you want to install source mod or metamod, then you'll just Google metamod, and then you just go to the first link and you can download it. And then if you want to download source mod, you know what, while my cat is standing up, let me take a second to push him off. Nope. There we go, okay. He's off my desk. So if you want to download source mod, then go ahead and Google source mod, and you can download it here. It'll be like the first link because it's a very popular link to access. And to actually install stuff, if I wanted to install source mod, let's just say I have a file called source mod, which I will create a dummy file called file. you simply, very simple, you simply drag and drop. Boom. That is how you install stuff, for the record. You just drag and drop. And it won't get rid of your file because basically what you're uploading, or what you're doing is you're uploading the file to the server, making a copy of it. And for the record too, the way FileZilla works, at least, I don't know if this is for like other servers, but this is how FileZilla works, is if I wanted to edit message of the day.txt, how it works is you'll download the text file, and then you'll edit it, and then once you're done editing it, you click save, and then you re-upload it. So you're not actually editing the file in the server, you're actually downloading it like your own version, modifying that, and then re-uploading it. And that is something that took a little bit for me to understand as a complete newbie to owning a server, so that's just a general tip. Anyway, so where were we? We are in add-ons. Let's maximize this window. So to install source mod, you literally just drop it into add-ons, and then source mod, and it'll already have, it should have the files already in the correct file directories, so you basically just drop whatever folders are there into your correct directory. Anyway, so in add-ons, we'll go into source mod. I don't even do anything with MetaMod or Sizzling plugins or these files, so I'm just leaving those alone. But source mod you will access quite often. Bin you never really access. Configs will contain some CFG files that you use every once in a while for a plugin. I think, yeah, actually most plugins will have these in configs. Data you don't really touch. Extensions, nothing. Game data, nothing. Logs, nothing. And then plugins is where most of your plugins will actually go, and these are .smx files. Now let me take a moment to explain basically like everything about plugins and all of that stuff. So if I were to Google source mod plugins, or source mode plugins, I guess, plugins, or most of the plugins, are listed on Allied Modders. Let's go to plugins, Allied Modders. Let's download an approved plugin and AFK Manager. So basically when you're downloading a plugin, all of the information you'll need to know, various commands and stuff for the plugin will be just in this page. The plugin creator will list all of the information you'll need to know, along with various change logs and stuff like that. And then you'll get to the download thing, or the download area. Okay, so when you get plugin, you're going to download an SMX file, and if you want to get the source or the plugin link doesn't work, sometimes it'll say failed to compile. You just go to source mod, you just Google source mod compiler, and you can add this as like a shortcut in your browser. You go to your compiler and you'll upload your .sp file, compile it, and then source mod will basically give you the SMX file. So that you'll have to do that anytime that you click get source or your plugin doesn't work, like the get plugin link does not work. Now, your phrases.txt files, those go into translations. Right here in add-on source mod translations, you'll drop all of those here. As you can see, I just have a ton in my server because I haven't bothered to delete the ones that I don't use. So that's where phrases.txt file goes. I think, emphasis on I think these basically create the commands that you can use in whatever game you're doing it for. So for example, if I were to like type just any command that the plugin is going to use, the fact that that command works and that the command is set up like that is basically what this file does. So that's kind of a guess. I'm just kind of putting 2 and 2 together on that one there. So correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to leave a comment on that. But your changelog, I don't know where those goes, or where that goes. I think it might just go into logs. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so that doesn't really matter, but if you're going to download a plugin, hopefully you'll get the simplified version and download afkmanager.zip, or not like afkmanager.zip, but there will be a zip file available for you to download. And the good thing about having zip files is that they usually contain the correct directories, so instead of dragging like phrases.txt into translations, and then the SMX file into plugins, it'll just have a directory where you just drag and drop once. And in this case, it comes with an SMX file and an SP file, and I'm not entirely sure on the SP file, but I think if you get an SMX file and an SP file, then the SP file goes into scripting, because you can see all of these SP files. But if you just get an SP file, I think you'll have to compile that. Not entirely sure on that, but yeah, most of the plugins won't have all of these. It'll just have like get plugin, or just like get plugin and then get the phrases.txt files. That's just mostly what you'll get in terms of plugins. Okay, so let's see. Plugins is, I just explained, SMX files. Scripting you don't really touch either, I don't think. Source, you don't really touch either. And then translations is one you'll access a lot to put phrases.txt files into. And then that's pretty much all you'll access for source mod. Now moving on, we have bin, you don't really access that much. And then CFG file, or the CFG folder, is one you'll access a lot. Now, this will take a while to explain too. I personally have a lot of .cfg files in my CFG folder, because Thief has actually installed a lot of these for me, but basically I run a competitive server, like hosting a lot of like lobbies and scrims and stuff. So for that I need the various UGC files, which you can actually download. I can do that, just show you guys really quick. So if I just want to Google UGC, boom, it'll take me to UGC Gaming League. Or you can just go to like ESEA or whatever config files you need, and then I'll go to like Highlander, for example, then just go to downloads, and then it'll have your config files right in this link right here. Also, the official competitive maps are right here, and their whitelist is right there that you can download too. But anyway, so your config files are basically what will set your server into various modes. For example, if I wanted to go into my server right now, and I will just put my server back to vanilla, UGC off. Okay, so my server is on vanilla right now. If I wanted to send it into a competitive mode, I would do exec UGC off. Basically, I'm executing a UGC config file. Let's do standard, boom. So I just executed a config file. These are basically what like send your server into various modes, and it'll execute a bunch of commands for your server, so these are very important. The main config file that you're going to edit, if you don't have all of these like UGC files and ESEA, all that stuff, you'll want to edit your server.cfg file. Okay, so normally you would just go view/edit, and if this doesn't exist, then you just create a new file called server.cfg. I'm not going to open mine, because if I did, I would show you my various settings that would show my Archon password specifically, which I could change after recording this, but I'm way too lazy to do that. So basically, I'm not going to show mine, because you could, if you really wanted to, you could get FileZilla and have access to my server by typing in the Archon password, or just connect to my server, blah, blah, blah. Which brings me to this. I don't think I've covered this. I'm going to have a few Word/Notepad files available for you guys to download. Basically, these contain a lot of commands that you want to know as server ops or server owners. For example, like a lot of these took me a long time to Google and find. For example, this TF tournament class limit soldier, or TF2 tournament class limit whatever, took me a long time to find. Actually, I asked my teammate Ellis to find it for me, or I was like, hey, do you know what the max class thing is, by the way? And he basically just searched UGC forums and came up with this, but like, a lot of help doesn't exist for a lot of this type of stuff, so the fact that I have all of this here for you guys is pretty awesome. Now, I have also included some links to various like useful source mod commands, which is actually kind of redundant. I'm actually just going to delete this, because I have a different Word file dedicated to that. So first of all, you have the useful server commands, right? And then I have also included a huge generic server.config file, or server.cfg file, This, if you're going to run just a standard multiplayer pub server, then this will be useful for you. It'll show you various variables that you can kind of figure out just by looking at it. For example, MP max rounds, where did I see that? MP max rounds right here, like obviously you can change that if you want maybe 5 rounds to be played before the server changes map, or if you're running like Slender or something, then you want MP flashlight 1 to enable the flashlight or something in like dark places. But yeah, the main reason I'm including this is to show you the various variables that you can change. Like I say up here, I would not personally suggest the server rates that are given, because if you're going to be running a competitive server, you'll definitely want different server rates, which you can actually Google or just go on the UGC forums and search that up, what good competitive rates should be for your server. But this is just good for showing various variables that you can change. Also, with a server.cfg like this, you basically change your hostname and your Archon password, which are what make your server yours. Instead of like Team Fortress 2, you can do like Brilliance's server or something. Brilliance's server. Boom. There you go. You got your server name. And I'm just going to put this back to Team Fortress 2, Team Fortress 2. Also, you can set like a password. So if you want like SV password, this is actually blank, which turns off the password. So if you want to put your password as happy, then your server password is now happy. Also, a quick tip for your server to access the files again that are in FileZilla, or like to refresh its file directory, you're going to have to change map. That's just kind of the golden rule. For example, if I were to change my server host name, for example, instead of brilliance/jtrain8 Chicago, which is what is seen right here, instead of that, if I wanted it to be named UGC Highlander Match, then I would go into my server.cfg, change that in host name, which is right here, and then it won't like display it until a map change. So then I would have to basically go into this Archon change level, and then I just change it to CP Badlands, or just refresh the map basically. Or you could even do Archon quit, which shuts down the server. However, I wouldn't recommend that because that basically just turns the server off and on for no reason when you could just change the map. So once you have your server.cfg edited and all of those variables put in place, I feel like I'm speaking too fast for you guys to keep up, but once you have that done, then that is the main step to setting up your server. The only other thing that I would edit in this file would be your item whitelist. If you're running like competitive whitelist, then you'll have one already in here that the server will automatically switch to. But if you want to edit your whitelist in tournament mode, which you can actually specify that in server.cfg, I think the command is, well, the command is in these server commands. I'll just let you guys find that on your own. You basically just can edit what weapons are allowed and not allowed. For example, so if I wanted to disallow the scattergun in tournament mode for whatever reason, this is already set up by Valve, but if I wanted to turn it off, then you just turn right here, this 1 to a 0. So very simple stuff like that, that you can edit with your whitelist, and I'm not going to say that. So yeah, that's how you edit your whitelist, and that's pretty much all that you need in the CFG folder. Sizzling plugins and source mod I just don't really touch. You really shouldn't touch that either because there's nothing in there for you to edit. So what did I just cover? I just covered CFG. So custom, I'm not entirely sure how, like, if you need to edit custom. I think you might throw custom materials and models for your server in here that users will have to download if they do connect to your server. However, make sure that anything custom in terms of maps or materials or models, that your server host has it on their fastdl server. Now, how that works is basically if you upload, let's say, a custom map, which I'll actually go into the maps file. If you upload a custom map, for example, to your server and you change your server to it, and your people trying to connect, or even yourself, don't have that map in your TF2 map file, and your host does not have it on their fastdl server, what that means is that your users will not be able to download the map. It'll just say missing maps, blah blah blah, comma disconnecting, which I'm sure all of you have seen that error message before. And if your host does have that on their fastdl server, which they manage themselves, then they should actually, or like your users will be able to download that map, and they'll be able to download it relatively quickly, because that's what fastdl stands for, is fast download. So if you're gonna, just have a, if you're gonna have a custom map and run that, for example, on my, when I once ran, I think, an open lobby on TF2 Fort Revamped, I had to ask Thief to add that to his fast download server because he didn't have that, and users weren't able to actually download the map. It would just say missing file disconnecting. So that's something you want to make sure too. And also, in terms of like asking your server host stuff, make sure you ask them questions. That's what they're there for. That's what part of their service should be, is answering questions, because they know a lot more about this stuff than you do. So anyway, we were at custom. So if you're going to throw, I'm not entirely sure how you throw in custom materials and models if you want to have like custom trails or something. So you have to search that up on your own, but I'm guessing you just do custom like your regular Team Fortress 2 folder. And then, so like download, I don't think you touch. Download lists is not touched either. Logs is not touched. I've never edited anything in that. Maps. This is where you'll put all of your BSP files, which is basically the Team Fortress 2 map file type, and Thief has actually been kind enough to provide me with pretty much every single map in Team Fortress 2, I think, ever. And there's like just like a lot of jump maps. Like, look at all those jump maps. There's probably like 70 jump maps here that I'll probably have to play through eventually. But like, it's really nice in terms of like what Thief does, because so now I have like PL Swiftwater UGC. Otherwise I'd have to upload that myself, which would take frickin' forever, because I have such a slow upload. But anyway, yeah, so that's your maps folder. Drag any BSP files into there, and you might have to drag, I think the graphs folder contains various things that you might have to drag in there, maybe every once in a while. Not entirely sure on that, don't hold me to it. So anyway, materials, I don't think you touch this. Media, I've never touched this either. Replay, I've never touched this. I think your server host might modify this if they want to enable replays, not entirely sure. And then your resource, I don't think you touch this either. It's mainly just language files and captioning files and scripts. You don't touch this either. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much the basics of owning a server. Now, let me go into Team Fortress 2 and give you an example of various things that you'll get frustrated with owning a server. So, for example, my server right now can't run sprays, or not that it can't run sprays, it's just set to not run sprays. The reason for this is, first of all, I think it's actually running SV Pure 2, or on SV Pure, yeah, so currently it is set on SV Pure 2. Now, you have to, I think, put this to 1 in order to enable sprays. So if I wanted to do Archon SV Pure 1, then boom, I'd have to do that. Now note, it says changes to SV Pure take effect when the next map is loaded. That's that whole change map to have, like, changes to your server type of golden rule. So I'm just going to reload the map. We'll go to Badlands, because the server has loaded this more than once, and my computer has loaded this more than once, so chances are it will load faster. So we're just going to change maps, and so the server should be set on SV Pure 1 now, so that's the first step to enabling sprays. Now, I did also Google a command. Now let me just show you this. So, and just to show, I do have sprays enabled. Let's click cancel multiplayer. So I do have sprays enabled right there. So if I wanted to press my spray button, it doesn't work, even though you just maybe heard that spray sound. So the sprays aren't still enabled, even though I have changed it to SV Pure 1. I think I've Googled a command that was like SP or CL allow decals or something like that. And I'd have to do more Googling to basically enable sprays. So Googling can, like, kind of and sometimes not be helpful in terms of like operating a server. Wow, why do I have such high ping? Maybe because I'm connected to FileZilla, perhaps? Not entirely sure, but so you'd have to like troubleshoot like enabling sprays, or you know, a plugin might not work right away. Maybe you have to like follow plugins instructions more closely. There's just a lot of troubleshooting to running a server and Googling and searching, and believe me, you will want to tear your hair out every once in a while when you can't get something to work. But just keep on Googling, friends, and make sure to ask those questions to your server op. So my ping is going down. That's kind of strange. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to do. Also, quick tip, if you run competitive UGC config files, to restore your server to its original settings, archon exec UGC off. That will save you a lot of headaches to restore your default server like settings. If a plugin creator is smart, or a plugin whatever config is smart, it will have various config files, or 2 config files that are basically triggers to turn the config off and on. For example, soap deathmatch is what you use to run MGE, and if you don't have soap enabled, or I mean, if you do have soap enabled but you want it to be not enabled, you actually do archon exec soap _ not live. Like, these are just more examples of triggers that that should be there just for basically efficiency or difficulty to restore your server's default files or whatever. So I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I am super glad that I actually do have my own server just for hosting competitive lobbies, and if I wanted to be in a UGC league, which I'm not currently, then that is actually like something you almost need, is your own server. Like if you're gonna create a team, then you need your own server. So yeah. And it's also fun to just mess with people. A fun command to do is go into player commands, and you go to teleport player, and then you just go to, now I can just teleport around. Also, it's really fun if you turn on SVGs 1, which I actually have that binded. You see server CVAR SVGs turned to 1. You won't see it though, because I have my chat settings set to not showing chat. Now I can do hurt me -100. -100,000. Now I have 100,000 health, and it's fun to just mess with people in your server by just doing this. However, don't be too douchey with it, because people will just leave your server. And oh, I guess Steak is here. So Steak, you're on the internet. Congratulations. Anyway, that's the video. So I hope I kind of covered most of what it means to run a server. I hope it was relatively organized too. There's just a lot to cover, and to do it in an organized way is even harder. So, recording a video. Say hi to the internets. Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to actually do all of this stuff in like an organized manner. So I still hope you guys learned some things though, basically like from the ground up what it means to own a server, and Steak being a smartass. Hi to the internet. Anyway, that's the video, guys. Thank you all for watching once again. If you enjoyed, please leave a rating, first of all, so that this video can be viewed, and it helps me out, but second of all, so this video can be viewed and it helps other people out that need like configuring help on their server. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So also feel free to subscribe, because I bring Team Fortress 2 on my channel. Not sure why I'm talking in a British accent, but anyway, that's the video, guys. Thank you all for watching once again, and peace out.